I started knitting and crocheting before I could write. I was actually kicked out of my first grade class and sent to the principal for knitting in class. I've made toys, I've made sweaters, I've made my own patterns my whole life. And in the 1970s, I read a series of books by Anne McCaffrey called The Dragons of Perm. And I wanted a fire lizard. So, I made one. She's old. She doesn't stand up very well anymore. And when we moved, a year after I designed this pattern, stitch by stitch, recording it before computers, I lost the pattern. And a few months ago in October, it came back. And meet the new generation. So I have been tweaking the pattern. And in talking to friends about this, I've discovered that the body and the tail are in different parts. Depending on how you attach the tail, will determine position. I've been experimenting with wing shape. She doesn't have any support in her wings. She does. I've experimented with sizes of yarn and embellishment. And like I said, it's a dragon or 6. I want one I can wear on my shoulder. So now I'm trying to figure out how to get it to stay there, because it's trying to fly away. And then I decided I needed to make a really big one for my granddaughter. She's not ready for it yet. She's got one of the smaller ones. And I brought a couple of more that are in process. I've experimented with using wire in the wings so that you can actually pose them, get them to, it's hard to do. She's so big, it was just really hard. I actually had to put wire in the neck ridge on this one to hold the head up because she was just too head heavy. And what I want to encourage people to think about is most children's toys are done in piecework. But you can modify the pieces. I've taken a teddy bear and turned it into a unicorn. I've taken, the head for this was from a mouse pattern. I've looked at different kinds of toy patterns and said, as other people have said, start with what you know, take inspiration from wherever you find it, and don't be afraid to play with it and change it up. Every one of these is a little different because I've been experimenting with the pattern for the last few months, tweaking it, modifying it, looking at what's really going to make it work. They all have personalities, and I never know who they're going to be, what kind of personality they're going to have until I finish the face, which is the last step. Did it get stuck? Okay. I'm looking for feedback today because I think making things three-dimensional is so much fun. I never thought that in this short period of time I wouldn't be bored with a pattern. Whether it's my own or someone else's, that I can keep going with it. I can keep tweaking it. I can make a little bit of a change in the wing design from this big thing to the triangle, the little triangle, and it worked better. And even with that, some of them have just different embellishments on it. Taking a basic pattern and playing with it. I very rarely use a pattern for other things that I make, whether it's a sweater or a scarf or a blanket. But I'm working with the same pattern since October and not getting bored. And what that says to me is that making toys, making things three-dimensionally can be fun. And it doesn't have to be static. It doesn't have to be a repetition. And if you can envision it, keep trying till you get it so that it looks like what you want it to be. I can't tell you how many times I started to make a revision on one of these and I ripped it out. I finally have the feet on the one that it isn't put together yet, exactly the way I think it's going to work. Knowing that the bigger they get, the more armature they need. This was all, a work in progress. And eventually, I'm going to have too many to keep at home, I think. Thank you.